Relax. And again, squeeze your block, flatten your back, press your feet. Try to spread your toes, and when you press your feet, try to press them evenly and equally, your perfect footprints. Lower down. One more time in the same mode where you take a big breath when you're down. You exhale to flatten. Squeeze the inner thighs. Feel your belly button hug in towards your spine. And squeeze your buttocks to lift. Relax your jaw. And this time when your hips come down, float your arms up to the ceiling. Breathing here as you circle your wrists and ankles. Excuse me, just your wrists, not your ankles. Your wrists are free and your ankles are not quite. All right, both ways, spread your fingers. And then open up your arms right and left, palms facing the ceiling. Gently tuck the shoulder blades, hello, Anna, down and away from your ears. And slowly as you squeeze your block, pull your knees into your chest, flexing your feet. Now press down through the arms and allow your feet to be at any height. For some people, heels are resting near your buttocks. For others, the feet have kicked up to about a 90-degree. And you might even hold on to the backs of your legs to flatten your back more readily. If it's comfortable for you to just rock side to side here, holding your legs, that's great. If you're okay to lower your arms, stretching them down onto the floor, what we're in fact looking for over time is this idea that you go into a very controlled twist, where your arms push into the mat to support your legs so that you don't go clunk over to the side. As you squeeze your block, allow your hips to tip and rotate. So when your legs go to the left, you might be way up on your outer left hip, or you might not be that far up and out. So you do not twist past the point where you feel like you have a really good, comfortable measure of control. Couple more of these twists. Notice how tempting it is to tighten your neck muscles. Gently turn your chin opposite to the leg movement. Breathing, continuously expanding and contracting your lungs. So tempting to hold one's breath. Once you've done 50 gazillion, slowly come on back to the center and ground your feet. Nice work. Okay, so next what we do is remove your block and keep your strap and hug the knees into your chest. Hold on to the backs of your thighs or the fronts of your shins, whichever one feels most natural and easy to you. Now push your legs into your hands, but pull your hands against your legs, widening your elbows. So now your arms are doing some work against the work of the legs, and the legs are doing work against the work of the arms, but your low back stays flat. So it's a whole lot of work to go nowhere, absolutely nowhere. Breathing into it, flattening your back, and then relax and just rock side to side. Okay, now bring your legs back in again where they were, flatten your feet, press out into your strap. This time put your palms on top of your thighs. Keep your knees in close enough that your low back is completely flat. And as you push out into your strap, try to push your knees away from your chest, but then let your legs work so hard against your hands that your legs don't go anywhere. Yes, so self-induced torture here. Pressing your low back flat, feel your belly button suck into the spine. Breathe, breathe, breathe. And relax and gently rock side to side. Oof. Okay, now last but not least, for some it's actually weirdly helpful, or maybe not too weirdly, to place your hands. What I'm going to do is put my hands flat on the mat, bring my thumbs and index fingers close together, but not necessarily to touch, and rest the sides of my sacrum and the sort of middle buttock on the fleshy part of my thumbs. Some people find that this actually feels okay to bring your knees into your chest with your hips resting on your flat palms. If you think, no, thanks, that's awful, you might instead put a strudel folded blanket under your hips. So here's me with a blanket folded thick but narrow under my pelvis. That's another option. For some people, feels good. Alternatively, nothing under the hips is totally fine. But what we want is this pincer maneuver. So what we do is bring the knees into the chest, support your hips or not, and then keeping your feet flexed, see if you can pull your strap from right to left And also, keeping your strap tightly pulled, can you swing the inner edges of your feet together and then apart and together? So the inner edges from heels to big toe mounds might even touch. And then, yep, exactly. And how tightly can you pull your strap? That's it, Nicole. Keeping the strap tight as can be, like a bowstring. Yes, there you go. Good. 2 more breaths. Feel the work. Anybody feel the work in the hips? Okay, perfect. Excellent. And then gently take your strap off. Oh, thank goodness we're done with that. Now this one, again, I have my head supported. I'm going to go for the cushy, nice little roll under the neck. Really relax my jaw and bring my arms out to the sides at an angle that feels easy, but spreads my base so I have a greater level of support. My feet are a little wider than hips distance, and my right foot is flat on the mat with my right knee bent. And here's what I do. I take my left leg and slowly draw a circle with my knee on the ceiling. The left foot can either be flexed or pointed, but not relaxed. It's an active left foot. And now for some, it feels good to roll over onto the right hip as your left knee crosses the midline, and then roll onto the left hip as your right knee starts to roll over a little bit. So the right leg moves with the pelvis, but don't worry exactly where it is. It's more of a relaxed right foot on the floor, right knee goes where it needs to, left knee traces a circle. Now, if you find you might even hold your left knee and circle the knee using your left hand instead of the freewheeling version, that might feel more controlled and more comfortable. For some of us, that does, takes pressure off of the muscles around the hip joint. And then switch it up and go the other way. And again, do the experiment to see if you might like to hold your knee. Sometimes it actually helps. Yeah, that's it. So creating some range of motion in your left hip, creating some blood flow, synovial fluid production, getting everything moving a little bit. Yeah, nice. And now slow it down and rest your left foot and take a moment just to pause and breathe and notice any difference in sensation in your left side of your body as compared to your right. Take a big breath into the belly, ribs, and collarbone. Fill up your lungs completely and let it go. And another big belly, ribs, collarbone breath. And let it go. And then slowly bring that right knee in and either holding the knee with your hand or just letting the knee circle all by itself, using your arms to press into the floor. Hello, Anne, welcome. Circling that right knee around. And it's again a tail wagging the dog kind of situation where your right knee circles and your whole body may move into a gentle twist in response to the movement of your right knee. Maybe you hold the knee and the circle might be a little smaller. That's totally fine. Breathing into it and switching directions when you're ready, but only when you feel like you're ready. Creating a bit more movement in the lower spine as well as the hip area, the leg itself. Couple breaths. And then slowly come on back to where we started. All right, so now one last thing here. What I'd like to do is have you bring your knees wide and bring a block between the soles of the feet. So it's a Supta Baddha Konasana position, which means the block is in between the insteps of your feet. You rest the block on the floor and see if the knees are comfortable dropping out to the side. If they're not, you simply turn your feet flat and squeeze your ankles against the block. If it's okay for your knees to open, they need not drop all the way under gravity's pull to their maximum low position. You could gently pull your knees slightly together if the stretch of the inner groin feels a bit much. That's it. Now squeeze in your block, press your low back flat, and see if your arms are comfortable reaching overhead as if holding a beach ball towards the wall behind you. Squeezing your block with your feet, flattening your back, draw the belly button in and down. And if the imaginary beach ball needs to be higher off the floor for shoulder comfort, that's not a problem at all. For some, instead, the imaginary beach ball might hover right above the floor, creating a kind of a flamenco arm position here. So keep your lumbar spine flat, squeeze your block, flex your toes back. And if it works for you to lift your block, you can, though for some it's too much load on the low back, in which case you hold your shins, and that can mean that you lift your legs, but much less load on your back and much less strain. So take a moment if you wish to bring your hands to the inner edges of your ankles, right above your inner ankles, or instead to reach your arms still back near your ears in the vicinity of. Either one of those may be appropriate, but the one that causes you to have a feeling of overload in your back, that's not where we want to stay. Flattening out your back. Now, if that whole thing is still fine, you could make a slow water wheel circle with your block, which means that it's a little bit like a, what is that? Like a mill, like a, I can't think of the word, molinho, moulin. The French is moulin. What is the word for that? I can't think of it. You know, the thing with at the mill with the water and that goes around in a circle. Whatever that's called. We'll call it a Ferris wheel, yeah? So I cannot think of the word for whatever that is. Yeah. Good, good, good. That's it, Shelley, exactly. Circling one direction and then change it up, circle the other. You don't need to do 65 bazillion. You could do 2 or 3 each way. Anybody feel this in their abdominal muscles, inner thighs? And then, take a break. Excellent. Now, finally, let's stretch our left leg way down the mat and gently hold the back of the right thigh, hug the right knee into the chest. Now flex both feet, which means you pull your toes right up towards your knees. And now gently, but with some assurance, move your right knee from left to right. So what does this mean? I use my right arm to gently pull my right knee open to the right, keeping my left hip and leg grounded, gentle stretch for the inner left groin. Then I bring my right knee across the body and come into any degree of cross-body twist with the option to stretch out your right arm to the right. Left hand on the right thigh, cross body. Take a deep breath. And then super gently roll back onto the back. And we repeat. Hugging that right thigh in, holding on. I hold the back of my right thigh. You could hold the shin, the knee, open up the right knee to the right, then close the cupboard and pull the right knee any amount into the cross body twist. Move your right buttock away from the crown of your head. Stretch through the right fingers if you wish. Maybe that right shoulder blade lifts off the floor a little bit. Gently back onto your back one more time, opening up. I put my left palm planted on my left hip point like an elephant foot, standing there, keeping my left hip grounded, and then last time, cross body twist. That's it, exactly. Yep, good. There you go, that's it. That's it, Joanne. And then back to the center, right foot flat, left foot flat. Take a moment just to windshield wiper your knees from side to side. This is an easy, soft kind of flapping of the petals in the breeze kind of thing. All right. Now hold on to the back of the left thigh. Kick the right leg long. Reach out through the heel. You can even point and flex your feet a few times if you're so inclined. Maybe circle your ankles. And then again, it's a gentle handoff of the leg. First, my left leg goes out to the left. I use my right palm to keep my right hip grounded. A little bit of inner groin stretch, possibly. Then slow movement of my left leg across. I tend to put my right hand wrapped over the outer thigh. As I bring my left knee across to the right and down, I might even look left, maybe even stretch out my left arm leftward, breathing into the twist. Super gentle transition back onto my back. Transfer the leg, opening the knee leftward, kicking through that right heel. Taking your time as if through molasses, slowly the left leg crosses, takes your whole body into the twist. Big breath. Slow transfer back and open. Right hand on the hip if you wish. That's the baby elephant standing on you. And last time, cross over. That's it, Nicole, exactly. Yep, there you go, Anne. Pulling that left knee over and down. If it's easy for you, maybe turn your chin left. Maybe stretch out through that right leg. Big breath into your left lung. And gently back to the center. All right, finally bring those knees into your chest and simply rock side to side to massage out your back. Very good. Okay. Now, where we go from here is to open up your blanket and come over onto your front body. Now, if you would like, you could take a strudel folded blanket, this one where I take the blanket in its classic stack fold and I fold it in half to create this kind of thick but narrow rectangle. I can always put a second rolled up blanket at the foot of my mat in case it feels better on my feet. Okay? Then the idea is to have your chest on the blanket, optional for your head on the blanket roll and your feet too on a blanket roll. You might say instead, I'm going to stack my palms or turn my head. All of those are nice options. So we start here where your legs and feet are about hips distance apart, and the feet may be resting on your blanket or not, totally fine. And from here, we make sure that the tops of your thighs point straight down, the tops of your feet are resting, and then you press your pubic bone down and try to pull your pubic bone up the line of the front body up towards your nose. Keep the buttocks engaging and see if you can straighten your knees. Pushing down into the floor or keeping the pubic bone pressing and just straightening the knees. If it doesn't feel good to push the floor with your feet, you don't have to, just straighten those knees. But can you now float your head and pull your arms back down and rest just your hands on the mat outside of your thighs? Palms can face down or up, either way, whichever one feels better to you. Then gently lift your shoulder heads up and draw your shoulder blades away from your ears and let your head float long. Your neck is a beautiful long stem, not tense, not brittle. Press the pubic bone down. Now, if you wish to float your feet just the tiniest bit off of the mat or the blanket, you can. And you might float your fingers, your hands, a tiny bit off of the mat. And you're in your low shalabhasana, pubic bone pressing. This is called cricket, your low cricket. Breathing here, and then lift your chest, lift your legs any amount, but keep your pubic bone pressing. And then lower all the way down, rest your forehead, turn your head if you prefer, and softly bend your knees. Flex your feet and windshield wiper your legs from side to side. Take an intentionally big breath into your belly as you expand your belly into the floor. And another big breath and let it go. All right, then again, tuck the tailbone, press the pubic bone, rest your forehead on the mat or the blanket, and then press your pubic bone so much into the floor and pull your belly button and pubic bone straight up the front of your shirt towards your nose. Then float your head, straighten your knees, and maybe even float your hands. Then float your feet. You can always put any body parts back down on the floor, but just keep your pubic bone pressing, your belly button lifting. And then breathe. You have the option to slowly move your arms out to the sides like a letter T, palms facing down or up. And then option to lift your wings, lift your chest, lift your head, and lower. Pubic bone pressing, lift any amount, does not need to be a lot. One more time, starfish push up. And stack your palms under your forehead, bend your knees, and this time make a circle with your shins, gently. Yeah, circle the shins in a big round circle. Nice work. Slowly switch the direction of your circles. All right, and now we get to lie sideways on the same blanket with a bolster under your ear. So we'll have everybody facing, who's on the mat side face in towards the computer. So you'll be on your left ear, and Anne and Nicole will be on their right ear facing in towards the camera. And I'll be on my right ear as well. So we'll be lying with one ear on your bolster, a block between the thighs, unless you find that the block is uncomfortable and unworkable, you don't need it if it's not workable for you. Notice what I've done with my bolster is instead of having most of my bolster in front of me like this, I have most of the bolster behind my eyes. So I'll be able to gently twist easily to the left without falling off my bolster, okay? So initially the legs are straight, that bottom arm is straight, and if you can turn the palm face down and it feels okay on the shoulder, great. You can use that hand to grip the floor, or you can make a fist, a hitchhiker's thumb, or even back of hand. The idea is that your bottom arm is working long and pushing down into the floor. Now, do the same with your bottom leg. Can you flex both feet? Can you press the outer edge of your bottom foot into the floor? For some people, that's workable, and for some people, it doesn't work that way. The shape of the foot is not that such that it allows for that. Now, squeeze your buttocks and see, if you look down the line of your body, if your feet and your crown of your head are all in one straight line, and then you slowly start to lift your legs up any amount. Now, I'd rather have you barely lift and do it with total control than have you use momentum and kind of bump your legs up. Yeah, so go slower and go less. That's it, Nicole, even less. Flex those feet. Good, exactly. So as if through even cold molasses. That's it, Ann. Yes, that's it, Shelley. Lifting your legs and lowering. If it works for you to lift and lower, that's it, Lisa. Good. Using your top hand on the floor. Taking the block out if you don't like it is totally fine. I like to use it myself just because it activates the inner thigh, inner groin, but if it feels like it's not helpful, you take it out. That's it, flexing those feet. Sometimes I use my top hand to push down into the mat to help me lift the legs. Nice work. One more breath, lift and hold. If you're lifted and it's workable to stay, you reach your top arm up to the ceiling, maybe even lifting your ear off of the bolster for about 2 seconds. Kick through your heels, then bend your knees and bend them in front of your body. Rest your head down. Take your top arm and hug it around your ribs, hand towards the collarbone, and then gently roll your chest towards the ceiling, any amount. Walk your bottom arm to the side away from your midline and gently extend your top arm, if it works for your shoulder, out and to the side behind you. For some, that's a nice stretch. For others, it's a lot for the shoulder joint. So you can keep your arm wrapped around your rib cage and just let the twist be in the torso, not in the arm and then the shoulder. For some, it feels good to grab the top thigh and pin it down as you twist a little deeper into that torso turn, breathing as you twist. Yes. That's it. Yep. And you could take your right hand to your left thigh, Nicole and Ann, if you wanted to. Your right hand to your left thigh, Lisa, if you want, and your left hand to your right thigh, Shelley, if you want. There you go. Yep. And you could take your left hand to your right thigh, Joanne, if you wanted to. Don't need to, though. Yeah. All right. One more big breath. I'm just going to turn off the heat here. And then we'll roll onto your back. Yes, exactly. Now you can face the opposite way, or you can swing your head around to the other side and bring your bolster with you, whichever one you prefer. If you want to look out at Mass Ave, it's a great time to do so. If you'd rather look in this direction, just put your other ear down. So if you had your right ear down, it's left ear down, and vice versa. Bottom arm stretches straight out down in front of you, like a zombie arm. Your legs, if you look down the line of your body, are completely in line with your torso. So it's as if you're in Tadasana, mountain pose. Resting your top hand on your outer thigh can be nice. That's your tuxedo stripe alignment. And as you squeeze your block, draw your belly button in, squeeze your buttock muscles, and get long through the spine. If it feels workable to slowly lift your bottom foot any amount off of the mat, you can do little tiny lifts. Sometimes I'll even put my hand on my waistline just above the pelvis, and I can feel, oh, wow, yeah, those abdominal muscles, those are working. Anybody feel those? Squeeze your buttocks. Try to keep your legs in line with your torso. They usually want to shift forward a little bit because your hip flexors are dominant. So bring your feet a little behind you. Yep, that's it, Nicole. You don't even have to lift the legs if it's already a lot of work to straighten them and to align your body. The lift is secondary to the length and strength. Beautiful, that's it. Carolyn, excellent. Joanne. Yep. Shelley, good. That's at least a little less turn out, a little more turn in of your thighs. You got it. That's the alignment. Yep. Kicking your feet back, Nicole, just another inch behind you. Good. That's it, Anne. And when you think, ugh, enough already, release, bend your knees. Oh, sorry, we could have done the hold. We didn't do it on this side. Holding in the lift, if you wish. Yeah. Don't want to forget that option. For some, that's a no option and you rest. Otherwise, taking the top arm up, lifting your ear, lifting your legs and holding, feeling that isometric work through the core. When your body says enough already, then you rest down, ear on bolster, knees forward. And here's where we can twist, stretching your bottom arm away from the midline. Begin to roll your chest to the ceiling. Top arm wraps around the ribs. And if your top arm and shoulder are comfortable, you can stretch your top arm all the way behind you, coming into the wide T shape across the shoulder girdle, breathing into the twist. Finally, if you wish, you can use your bottom arm to grab your top thigh and hug your knee downward as you twist a little deeper. Just gives you a little leverage with which to rotate your torso up towards the ceiling. Nice work. Big breath into your top lung. Maybe even gently turn your chin shoulder to shoulder a little bit. Yeah, just a little rotation of the neck to notice if you're tensing, if there's any ease to be had. Very good. All right. And then super gently pull that top arm back in. Roll onto your back. Gently rock side to side. And take a break. All right. Very good. Now, we'll be doing one more thing before we come on up, which is to place a blanket folded in that strudel mode right underneath your knees. Take a block between the thighs and a block between your hands. So I have a block that's in between my two hands. My hands are on either side. All 5 fingers, thumbs and fingers are together. And I find a tabletop like this. So my elbows are on a blanket, my knees are on extra blanket, and I'm here in this very rectilinear version of tabletop, which means that my elbows are bent, my knees are bent, and I'm very square. My neck is long, and I'm scooping my belly up so that my low back is relatively flat, but the crown of my head is reaching forward. So the spine and the neck are in line with each other. And I'm trying to decrease the caving in of my low back and the bumping up of my upper back. I'm looking to try to make kind of a bench flatness to my back, which is slightly tilted downward because my forearms are on the mat. And then all I do is slowly squeezing both blocks, move my hips and shoulders any amount front to back. Now I can always slide my elbows further forward to create a larger space between my knees and my elbows. But the whole time I'm doing this, I'm squeezing my blocks, mostly with the thighs, but also with the palms, and I'm scooping my tailbone down so that my low back is slightly cat curving up to the ceiling, even though I'm trying to prevent that from occurring in my upper back. Backing and forthing with the squeeze of the blocks. Yes, that's it, Shelley. Good. Yep, there you go, Joanne. That's it, Carolyn. Yes, Lisa, good. Keeping that lumbar spine nice and flattened up towards the sky. You got it. That's it, Shelley. Even a little more flat lumbar spine. Yes, that's it, Nicole. Good. Yep. And excellent. 1 or 2 more. Excellent. And then gently we release into child's pose. Now, some people will find that if you drape the tops of your ankles over a blanket, that allows you to sit on your feet in a way that when there's no support under the tops of the feet, it hurts your ankles. If you have a variation of child's pose that you like, I'm showing you the blanket under the feet variation, a block under my forehead. This keeps my chest elongating and allows me to drape my torso downward, but rest with a space in the front of the spine that is helpful if you're dealing with osteoporosis, osteopenia, especially osteoporosis. That keeps the spine long and prevents you from doing a curving of the upper spine forward, which is the part that can get a little dicey when you're dealing with osteoporosis. So breathing into your child's pose. See if you can bring the breath into your low back. Imagine you had a blanket right over your lumbar spine, like you had on a saddle blanket and you were a horse. And can you breathe into this blanket? Breathe. Yes. You feel that? Excellent. So breathing into the blanket. May I, Joanne, give you the blanket treatment? So you breathe into that. Yes. Big breath up into the blanket. Nice. Taking a break whenever you need to. See if you can fill up the blanket with your breath. Puff it up and back. Nice. Yeah, exactly. One more time. Yes, beautiful. I'm just pressing the blanket over your lumbar spine gently to see, yes, see if you can puff up into it like the throat of a bullfrog. Whoa. Yes, beautiful, Lisa. Okay, one more. Breathe. Yes, you feel that, Nicole? Excellent. Breathing into your low back, puffing the lungs upwards and outwards as you expand your diaphragm. Good. One more deep breath in. Excellent. And out you come, resting. Beautiful. Exactly. And slowly come on up to hands and knees. We'll just take a gentle cat-cow. If you prefer to be on your forearms, that's what I'm showing here. Taking a moment just to do a cat-cow. Now, for some, it's more cow with a very tiny cat. Your spine stays pretty neutral. Here's me doing really just a lumbar cat-cow. If you know that it's completely comfortable for you to go all the way to cow, you can tuck your chin. Although, again, the Yoga for Osteoporosis practice has you keep your head and neck extended and just tip and tuck your tailbone, not so much trying to do the upper thoracic curve. All right, and then let's sneak our way up to standing. Okay. Now, where I'd like to go is to take your blanket and then open it up like this. Okay. Now, what we'll do with the blanket once you've got it opened up is fold it. So we have a long rectangle, okay? Yeah, so you can just fold that blanket in half lengthwise there, Nicole, and you'll be all set. Yeah, exactly. Yep, there you go. That's it, Joanne, exactly, just like that. That's all you need. So once you have your long rectangle, we put it like an obi around the middle of your body, from your low ribs down to your upper pelvis. You see where my blanket is? So it's kind of at low ribs and just above the buttocks there. Yeah. Now, it's a little bit long, a little bit longer than I'd like it to be, but the idea is that you have your blanket and you can easily hook it with your elbows. Yeah. Now, the blanket comes right up to the space under the chest. Yeah, so not on the chest so much as just below the chest. Yes. And then hug it in. Now, you can keep hold of it with your hands. For me, that actually feels better, or you can actually interlace. Okay. The idea is that you step your feet wide, and then you turn your right toes slightly in and your left toes out. Breathing, you pull the blanket against your back, bending your left knee, and then try to puff your back into the blanket. Slowly straighten and bend your left knee, Virabhadrasana 2, while breathing backwards into the space of the blanket. Hold in your left knee bend whenever you're ready. Breathe back into your blanket and pull the left side of your blanket towards the wall in front of you and look right, opening your chest. So the upper body is rotating a little bit to the right to parallel your shoulders with the long edge of your mat, but your lower body is still gently rotating to the left. Look left, pull your blanket centered towards the midline, puff into your blanket, bend your left knee. Puff into your blanket more. Lift through the crown of your head. Exactly. And slowly straighten your left knee. Very good. Turn the left toes in, turn the right toes out. So I'm going to come around and do that's facing you. So warrior two, right knee bends, pulling your blanket forward. Now find your right hand and pull the right edge of your blanket towards the mat in front of you, looking to your left, so that now your upper body rotates to parallel the long edge of your mat, even as your hips are still a little bit turned to the right. That's it. Now keep your left leg straight and just bend your right knee. Now look back at your left leg and see how straight it can be. You might even put your heel a little further out than your toes, slight internal rotation of that left leg. Now pause as you look left, peek over at your knee, see that it's going right over your toes, and straighten your left knee a little bit more. That's it. So the back leg is the one we straighten. The front leg is the one we bend. Now pull the left side of your blanket to turn your hips to the right. Turn towards Dunkin' Donuts. Pull your left side of your blanket towards the Dunkin' Donuts wall. Rotate your hips to the Dunkin' Donuts wall. Good. Now, keep your spine long and pull just your shoulders back to parallel me. So pull the right side of your blanket and look towards the partition. That's it. So your upper body is de-rotating. Your lower body is twisting to the right. That's a tricky one. Now, straighten out that right leg and out you come. Oh, toe heel, toe heel, toe heel. We'll do it again in a different manner. So now take your strap and take your loop that we had. All right. So for me, the strap, if I'm going to pull it up towards the ceiling, I need it to be pretty wide because my shoulder joints feel more comfortable when the strap is a little wider. But you may find that you can have a narrower strap. That's totally fine. What we're looking for is a width that allows you to comfortably elongate through the arms without stressing out the shoulder joint. So for some, the arms will stay forward and palms will stay facing each other in this sort of flamenco orientation. For others, the strap might even come higher and your shoulders might shrug a bit. If there's no discomfort, allow your shoulders to shrug. That can give you nice length through the armpit chest. Whenever you need to drop the shoulder blades down, let your elbows soften. Yeah, and you can see I rotated the long tail so it's not hanging right in my nose, if you don't mind it. Yeah. Now, turn your palms to face each other, face the long edge of your mat. There you go. There you go. Yeah. That's it, Ann. Yep, and your hands will be inside. Yes, and now I have my thumbs out and my palms in. You could put your wrists in if you prefer. Both are fine. Now, we're going to be going into warrior two, so turn your left toes in slightly. Turn your right toes out 90 degrees. Now, bring your strap, your chest, your hips, rotate them all to the right. Rotate your hips. That's it. Bend your right knee. Press your right heel. Then pull your strap, your chest, your spine long, and peek back at your left leg and see if you can straighten it any amount. That's it. And then grow taller. Big breath in. Now keep your hips right where they are and just turn your upper body to face the long edge of your mat towards the partition. Exactly. Grow tall, tall, tall through your spine. Beautiful. Now let go of your strap and lean on your right elbow, placing your right elbow on your thigh. You can hold the strap or let it fall and slowly circle your left arm. Slowly straightening your left leg, bending your right knee. Big breath in, send that left arm straight up to the ceiling. Press your right heel. That's it, Joanne, you got it. Yep, exactly, Carolyn. Then push your way up. That's it, Lisa. Yes, Nicole. Good, good, Anna. And then turn the toes in and toe heel, toe heel, toe heel. Excellent. Okay, so I'm going to show lightning demo on the other side. My arms are up. And here's my wholesale turn. Hips, shoulders, everything. Knee bends. Then just my upper body de-rotates. So my lower body is still turned to that left side, but my shoulders and my collarbone open up to the side of my mat. So I'm like one of those pepper grinders. Okay, let's see how that goes. Holding on to your strap, and you can abandon the strap if you found you didn't like it, let it go. You can just reach your arms up, not a problem. If you're okay with the strap, it goes any amount towards the ceiling. Again, could be in front of you. That's nicer for some shoulders. Could be right above your shoulders. And if so, let your shoulders shrug a bit. That's not a problem. Now, turn. I think we're going this way. I hope this is correct. Right toes in, left toes out. Oh, good. Phew. Right toes in, left toes out. Now, squeeze your right buttock and rotate your chest, your hips, your arms, your head, your neck, everything slightly to your left, about 40 degrees-ish. Bend your left knee and let it go right over your toes. Nice, Nicole. Exactly. That's it, Ann. Now, push your left heel down. Pull your sticky mat to the right with your right leg. Now, keep your hips spun to the left, but open up your chest parallel. Pull the strap with your right arm to bring your collarbone parallel to the long edge of your mat. Look right. Yes. Now take your strap in your right hand and stretch your arms wide. Nice. Keep the width and lean onto your left thigh. Drop your strap and slowly circle your own version of a circle of your right arm. Nice work. Utthita Parsva Konasana, intensive side angle. One more deep breath. Send your right arm straight up to the sky. That's it, Lisa. Good. Reach up, up, up to come out. Nice. That's it. Reach both arms wide. Turn your left toes in and toe heel, toe heel, toe heel. Whew. Good. Excellent. Now, last balance pose before we lie down. We need both blocks. We'll put your two blocks flat on the sticky mat facing me with your blocks to your left of your left baby toe. So I'll mirror you here. So your blocks are a little bit in front of you and out to the left. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, and you could face this way. That's great, Lisa. Yep. Okay. Now we're standing with the hands on the hips, and you can feel your blocks against your left baby toe. You can kind of see that they're a little bit in front of you. Yep. And then bring your legs together. Your version of together. Your feet might not be exactly squished together. Now, stand up really tall and slightly bend your knees. Now, looking down, parallel your feet and see if you can slowly lift up your left leg and see if your foot can go on those blocks. Nice. Now, bring your gaze forward to a fixed focal point so you can be tall and take your arms forward and up. Elbows can be bent, arms can be bent, or you can even reach the arms, but let the shoulders softly shrug if you do choose to straighten out your elbows. Now, try not to shift to your right, but draw your hips right up underneath you. And as you take weight into your right leg, gazing at a fixed focal point, see if you can bring your left knee any amount in front of your left hip. Breathing. Pulling your right hip underneath you, growing taller. You can always put the foot right back down on the block for balance and lift it back up if you prefer. Gazing down your nose, getting taller through the spine. Excellent. And slowly down you come. Nice work. Yes. Balancing is not putting your foot down. Balancing is trying not to put your foot down or putting your foot down and picking it back up again. Balancing is an in and out thing. It's not necessarily a thing. Okay. Blocks to your right, in front of you slightly, legs together, knees slightly bent. So we're not doing this. We're letting the knees stay a little bit soft because this, locking out the joint, means you have much less muscle action around your knee and hip joints. And we want, ideally, to feel completely solid. And of course, if the knee bothers you when you soften it, you would really straighten it and lengthen it, but you might be able to get away with a soft knee, and that would be great. Hands on the hips, peek down at your feet, squeeze your inner thighs, and now super slowly peel your right heel up and see if your foot can go to the blocks. See if your arms are comfortable reaching up. Remember that flamenco spiral of the arms, gazing down your nose. You can even keep the flamenco spiral even if you shrug your shoulders a little bit, but let it be a soft shrug. Now squeeze your left buttock and see if you can lift your right knee any amount and draw the knee in front of the hip. Squeezing the buttocks, gazing down your nose. If you want to flex your right foot, you can. You can circle your ankles, circle your wrists, la-di-da. Totally superfluous. You don't need to be doing that. Coming down whenever you need to. You can always come back up for one more breath. and slowly lower. Nice work, really good. Finally, for a shoulder and neck releaser, I bend my knees and with a flat back, push my buttocks back in space, keeping my head and neck long. I let that arm swing either in a circle or a straight line. Again, for those of us working to not curve the upper spine down, you might not want to drop your head, but if you know you're okay with it, worked with your doctor and you know you're not dealing with osteoporosis, then you can let your upper body hang, yeah? So take your time to try both arms, both shoulders. No need for the head. We can relax the head in other ways at other times. Letting momentum drive your movement more than muscle action. Sometimes people even do both arms. Right. Very gently, slowly come on up. And to do one more strap thing, which means that we take the straps and walk it around the thigh bones again, one more time, bringing it up around sort of middle of the thigh. So what this gives me is, instead of a block squeeze, this gives me that same strap stretch that we were doing earlier. Now you can certainly put the strap lower, closer to the kneecaps, or higher, closer to the middle thigh. It's a question of comfort. So if there's a place that doesn't feel good, you move it so that it's fine. No strain, no pain. And then bring your hands on your hips and separate your legs as far as you can without overstretching your strap, and unlock your knees. And check your feet. Can you parallel your feet? Yes, exactly, Nicole. Good work. Yeah, exactly. Now lift and spread your toes. Yes. Ground your heels, squeeze your buttocks, and push out into your strap. Then take your left arm, cross the body, lift the elbow, grow as tall as you can, and backstroke your left arm. Then again, turning right, elbow leads, option to reach your arm way out behind you. Two more of these. Rotation of the torso to the right, and then left. Last one, pushing out into the strap. And slowly return to center. Roll both shoulders forward and up and back and down, bending those knees, pushing out into your strap. Good, exactly. Now, micro bend the knees, draw the navel in and up, and it's that right arm, elbow leads, and twisting. Breathing, let the chin be soft. I often tuck my chin here. Lengthening through that right side. Taking your time, we'll do 4-ish. And come on back to the center and roll the shoulders. Yeah, nice work. Exactly. And then step out of your strap. Shake, shake, shake. Very good. Now keep your loop. And we'll move down onto the mat and take your head onto your blanket. And if you're okay with the block, you can put the block under your pelvis. You could do it with the bolster instead, crossways on your mat. I'll show you the block version. My hips are up on the block. I move the blanket away and I bring my legs up. If you prefer to have it be the bolster or a folded blanket, you don't need this flat block. For some people, it's just a bit too harsh. So the bolster will be fine or a blanket will be fine. So we find our way briefly into Viparita Karani, which is legs up the wall, but we don't need the wall. And we check to see that your neck and shoulders, head are comfortable, and pull any blanketing underneath the head and neck that you might be craving. That's it, exactly. So there you go, Lisa, exactly. So hips on a bolster, hips on a block, hips on a blanket. Then slowly bend the knees and hold on to the back of the right thigh. Hug the right thigh. Hug the right knee into the chest, then kick through the heel of the left leg slowly, as if through really wonderfully thick chocolate. Press through the left heel, hug the right knee into the chest, breathing into the length in the front of the left hip, and see if your left heel can come to the floor. Circle the ankles a couple times. Stretch through the left heel, pressing your pubic bone up to the ceiling. Big breath in and slow breath out, lowering your right foot down onto the mat, and slowly drag your left thigh into your chest. Then now it's kicking through the right leg. For many people, the right leg feels better hovering above the floor. You can point and flex or circle your ankles, moving those legs, moving those feet, I should say. Again, option to ground your right heel, squeeze your right buttock, and lengthen through the front of the right hip even more. Rotating your tailbone up towards the sky, even as the right heel moves to the foot of your mat even further. Anybody feel this in the front of the right hip a little bit? Okay. One more deep breath, letting your right heel go lower towards the mat, ever lower. And slowly relax and lower your left foot flat. Lower your right foot flat. Now, super gently, bend at the elbows, press with the soles of the feet, lift up off your bolster or block just a bit, and then rest back down onto the support. Then again, slow, gentle lift. Feel the bones rise. Exhale, completely relax. Last time, gentle bridge lift. Lower back. Ah. Phew. Now, for some people, legs up the wall is a nice way to finish your practice. You could simply elevate your feet and legs, relax your arms to your favorite resting place, and that might be it. I'm going to switch over to the Stonehenge option, which is going to be putting one block tall on either side of the foot of my mat, about 8 inches apart. I put my bolster across, and then I rest my calves on the bolster's sculpture here, with my backs of my thighs resting on the front edge of the bolster and my legs completely relaxed with a pretty big angle at the hip joint, about 120, 130 degrees. So, and now any blanketing you need on top or underneath you, just raise your hand if you'd like an extra blanket. I don't want you to get cold in Shavasana. And if your neighbor stole your sock, I'll get after them for you. All right, so taking your time, letting yourself settle in and settle down, resting. Now, this is the best part of class, and indeed, it's the most effective part of class because it's the time where you can integrate what you've done. So your body has this conversation, nervous system, musculoskeletal system, all the systems, taking a time to settle it back in, release into the new you. Never step into the same body twice. Breathing into your belly, softening into your brain. Let your eyes be soft extensions of your brain. Let your ears be soft extensions of your brain. Now, very gently begin to deepen your breathing. And of course, you always have the option to stay resting, need not move at all. You can slowly start to bring the body back towards a little rolled up position, rocking side to side. Option to roll over to the side body and rest there. And perhaps to find your way to a seat, but there's no need for that. You can completely just rest. If you do choose to sit the body upright, you might bring the palms together and allow the overt or external symmetry in the body to pervade, even though wildly asymmetric things are going on inside. Somewhat symmetrical, mostly symmetrical outside. As you breathe, let the palms rest on each other. Let the body rest in itself. And take a moment to observe the quality of the mind, the quality of the breath, and sensation throughout the body. Thank you so much for joining me. Hope you all have a lovely day. All right. Good week. I'll be here Wednesday and Friday. Take care, Roberta.
Thank you, Anne. Lovely.
You're welcome. Lovely to see you. Good luck with your knee. I'll be crossing my
Okay.
fingers for you.
Thanks
Okay.
a lot. Bye.
Bye.